Check out there. 1212. You tune into the Enveonline podcast. You're rocking with your host, one half, son of a Jones, and to my left.
You're very opinionated, angry.
You always
partner.
angry, man. It's the holiday season, man. Getting ready for Christmas or Kwanzaa.
Stress.
Yeah, you know what time it is.
Yes. Yeah, you
getting broke.
You got to put certain bills on the back burner, hoping they don't call you. Like, I'm going to get it to you. Just wait till after Christmas.
Just after Christmas.
Yeah.
Man, that Christmas, that week leading up to Christmas, man.
Super
you
facts.
like, oh, I got an extra $200. No, you don't.
Yeah, super facts.
No, you don't, man.
No, you don't.
It's a lot of people out there that's stressed, man.
Yeah.
You know who one person is probably stressed that I feel bad for?
Who that be?
Uncle Murder. I feel bad for Uncle Murder, man.
What you feel bad for Uncle Murder?
Because it's getting close to the end of the year where he does the wrap up.
Oh, yes, Sire.
Like for those of you who don't know, in hip hop you should know, Uncle Murder from G Unit, he's notorious for doing a wrap up where he makes a big song about all the current events throughout the year.
Yes, he does. He's gonna have to make parts. Yeah.
But this is where I'm gonna go with it before we get into the crux of the conversation. Here's an idea for Uncle Murder for the wrap up. I understand you do this song where you make it an extended song or maybe a 2-part song. Have you ever thought about, for the wrap up, making it an album?
That's interesting.
Instead of doing a 10-minute song, a part A, a part B, since you have so many topics, why don't you just break it down into album format? This way, the consumers have to stream the whole album to hear the wrap up.
Yes, sir.
That's just an idea for Uncle Murder. Maybe you might take it, maybe you might not. But for the amount of topics that you have to clear through, especially what happened today on the internet, Uncle Murder, I know you saw what happened with Remy Ma crashing out and all this X, Y, and Z, Jay-Z, healthcare CEOs getting their wigs split in broad daylight. It's just so much stuff. With the amount of topics you're starting to get for the wrap up, you might want to consider making that an album. That's just me though, man.
Yes, sir.
But let's start with one of those topics that Uncle Murder has to engage in, man.
Okay.
In hip hop land, if you pay attention to hip hop, the internet has been on fire since 5 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah.
Only thing you should be doing is waking up and going to the bathroom at 5 a.m.
I went back to sleep.
Yeah, some people go back to sleep. You check on your kids.
Yeah.
Apparently at 5 a.m., Remy Ma, the rapper from the Bronx, started crashing out on Instagram.
Yeah, I think I'm going to let you lead this one. Go ahead.
I'll just give a context because everybody had to see it. It's been all over every blog page, every Instagram page. So I don't need to give a 30-minute synopsis. You guys know she was or still is currently married to Papoose. And apparently Black love has deteriorated. Now, we didn't know from the outside because, and this is where I'm going to go with it, Papoose has kept his mouth shut throughout this whole situation. Through good or bad, the outside didn't know about it, but she wakes up at 5 a.m. and start releasing a series of, I guess, text messages she caught, and she put it out there on Instagram to try to make it seem like, oh, I caught Papoose cheating. And everybody's looking at the text messages like, Remy, knock, knock, knock. Like, we remember the last year and a half, you were linked to that battle rapper, Easy the Block Captain.
Facts.
Like, this is not no conspiracy theory. Now, you try to deny, but every time we looked online, somebody was catching you out at the movies. Somebody was catching you at the football game dressed alike. So everybody was like, we don't know because Papoose kept his mouth shut.
Called being a grown man.
You see where I'm going with this? He kept it off the internet.
Being a grown man, not sassy or like the modern day guy.
Even though when it got really, really bad and people was like, come on, they're wearing matching watches, they're wearing matching outfits. So anybody who understands, when you wear a matching outfit, that's your significant other. Everybody's like, yo, Remy's cheating on Papoose. The only thing Papoose is doing is getting in the car and doing what? Freestyling.
Yeah.
That's the only thing we got from Papoose. So everybody's like, well, if he's keeping his mouth shut about it, then. But all that unfolded today, and everybody already knows, so I don't have to bring up the tweets and the text messages, but apparently she put out that he's linked to the boxer Clarissa, if I'm pronouncing
Shields, yeah.
Clarissa Shields, and that whole thing got popping. So, what are your initial thoughts of this whole situation without going too deep into it?
I want to use the word sad. I think, you know, when you're in your 40s, really, I try to keep my personal life as private as I can, and I just don't choose to. Like, I'll speak on topics, but I'm not going to sit there and be open book to everybody. And I know clearly how Papoose moves. He's clearly not an open book to anybody and everybody. And even though people might have saw everything he needed to see, he never said anything bad. He never said anything wrong. He just kind of kept it to himself and went through it like how real men really deal with it. They just kind of push through it. Unless it's their inner circle they're talking with, they're not going on social media to share that pain.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? Whereas Remy, it's just, really? You got out of jail, you're free, you got another baby, you were married. Even if it didn't work out, you need to just be grateful. And with everything going on in the back end, which I will not mention at this point, but we both know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
You really need to be focusing on something else rather than your energy on who your ex-husband is dealing with. That's just my opinion. I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, we're going somewhere with this conversation.
Okay.
So, and this is not choosing sides because people got their own relationships, and I'm sort of like you. Like, for the people who don't know, I'm married in real life outside the internet. Been with my wife going on 8 years, married, but been together for 14 years, going on 15 years. Have you ever seen any of our problems on Instagram?
Absolutely not.
You see nice pictures. That doesn't mean we're perfect. So I'm coming from this from a married man's perspective, from somebody who's got the ring on, been happily married, got multiple kids with my one wife, never put none of our problems on the social media. Actually, that was a conversation we had when we were dating. I said, look, I know I'm young. I know the internet's a thing and X, Y, and Z, but don't expect to see none of our issues on Facebook. Like, I made it a point. I said, if we're having problems, we need to communicate first before we go run to Facebook. Because I saw that nonsense happening. People putting a laundry list of stories on Facebook. What do you want people on Facebook to do about your personal life? Nothing. I said, and if it gets too bad, then we go to our family. That's it's common sense. So when I'm looking at it, I'm like, what made her go off at 5 a.m.? Because you allegedly saw text messages from somebody that you stepped out on. And I'm going to get to that part. That you stepped out on first.
Yeah.
Like, you beat him getting mad.
Yeah.
So, like, you wanted to paint the narrative, and I'm not choosing sides, but it's pretty much confirmed by all the videos that dropped today.
Yeah.
Especially the last one that Easy the Block Captain just dropped around 6 o'clock, where he pretty much confirmed. He said, oh, Papoose Ben knew we were messing around 2 years ago. I'm like, why would you put that on video? If I'm Papoose divorce attorney, I'm downloading all these videos and I'm about to put up LeBron James numbers in the courtroom. Whoever Papoose divorce attorney is in this whole thing must be rubbing their hand, because this is a 2017 LeBron James type of game he's about to have.
Yeah.
He about to put up 38, 15, and 12.
Oh, my God.
So that's the synopsis of the situation. Now, many people were commenting on what we know about Papoose and Remy Ma, which is the story how, respectfully, she put herself in a situation to go to jail. You shot, as you said in your song, you shot your friend over a band, and like, she put that lyric out there. So you put yourself in a situation to go to prison for 6.5, 7 years.
Right.
While Papoose called you every day, according to her, showed up to every visiting session. He said he traveled up to Albany, the state capitol, to advocate, and all this stuff that he was doing. So here's my question in this situation. So I already put out the context. So for all that we know from Remy Ma Papoose situation, we all know the backstory, the holding it down in jail. If you put yourself in a situation where you go to prison longer than 3 months, longer than a county bid, not no 6 months, not no 9 months, but you go away for 5, 6, 7, 8 years, do the same relationship rules apply? or should they be suspended?
They should apply, but most times, 9 times out of 10, they're usually suspended. Yeah.
What's the how do I frame this? What's the realistic amount of time that you expect somebody to wait on you? And I'm keeping it funky. Let's keep it real.
No, 15 and 25 years.
Nah, I'm being realistic. I'm saying like 1 year, 2 years, 3 years.
Yeah, one or 2 years. And after that, I guess it's free fall. You know what I mean?
So, my question when I put this clip out, for all that we know for Remy Ma and Papoose situation, since she went to jail longer than 5, 6, 7 years, is it fair game when somebody puts themselves in a situation where they go to jail longer than 5 years? Should it be suspended, meaning you can't bring that back up to them when you get out?
Yeah.
And I'm saying this as a married man. Like, if I put myself in a situation where I get caught with a pistol, which I'm not, I get caught doing something that sends my black behind the jail for 8 years, should I expect my wife to pause her life and wait on me?
No.
It would be nice, but I'm gonna keep it 100. She's not obligated to.
Facts.
The reason where I'm going with that is because her first message that she threw out there was, "Oh yeah, I think he was holding me down like that." Come on, Ram. She tried to insinuate that in one of the first messages she put on Instagram.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I got the text messages. Yeah, he not who he's saying he is.
Really? So why did you marry him?
Really? Why did you have a baby? Why did y'all do the Love and Hip Hop?
Yeah, like what is she talking about?
That's what she's throwing out there now.
Yeah.
Oh, he's not who he's portraying to be. All that black love stuff. And I'm just sitting there looking at it like, you the one who said he was coming up to every visit.
Yeah.
When all the women in the jail weren't getting visitors, you were getting visitors. That's what she said. Not the media. That's what her word says. So I'm like, where is all this coming from? You really expect... You're lucky you got that. And I'm not trying to be funny about it. You're lucky you got the energy he gave. Because a part of me wants to say, ain't nobody hear none of this stuff. If he did, I'm not trying to be funny. But let me keep it a hundo.
Yeah.
If he did step out, he kept the shit out the media.
Facts. Kept it low.
Ain't nothing leaked to Instagram. Ain't nothing leaked to Twitter. Ain't nothing leaked to Facebook. So all I'm asking is, for the people out there watching, if you're in a relationship and you go to jail longer than 5 years, do the rules still apply about you being faithful? About your spouse being faithful?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that, T?
I'm newly married. I'm not messing with that.
Oh, okay.
Oh my God.
I respect it. I respect it.
I mean, humans are humans. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's that situation. It's sad to see because nobody wants to glory in it. Like, oh, they broke up, but she put it out there on the internet. Then Easy the Black Captain confirmed it. So when you put something out there for a public forum, then this is what happens. I guess the most I could say is hopefully this doesn't affect their child in a negative way.
Yeah. Yeah, it is what it is, man. She just seems to have a streak of bad luck or drama. It just seems to be like that.
What you mean?
Like, even with the situation, because remember before she got locked up, she was having her issues with Fat Joe. She was having her issues with, and I mean, she reconciled on them. But then the shooting happened. Then you go to jail and you get out. Then you just, you seemed like everything was okay. But then, she had a miscarriage the first time they tried. And then now, all of the situation with her other child. So it just seems like sometimes she seems to go through a lot. I'm not saying that other people don't. I'm just saying it just seems like every time you turn around, she seems to be having some type of situation she's trying to push through. And now this situation, which clearly has been going on longer than just today.
According to Easy the Black Captain, for 2 years.
Oh, God.
The algorithm bull, as he called himself. I think he has a battle coming up with Shotgun Suge. Now, Shotgun Suge, I like battle rap.
Yeah, oh God.
you better call Papoose shotgun.
Yeah.
Papoose better pop out in your second round. Because you know the algorithm bull is gonna be shook if you pull Papoose out in that battle rap. Mm-hmm. So for those of you into battle rap, look forward to Shotgun Suge versus Easy to Block Captain, aka the algorithm bull.
Oh, God.
That's gonna be a good battle because if somehow Shotgun Suge pulls Papoose on that stage, this stage is gonna shake. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna leave that there.
I'm not gonna say nothing about that. Yeah.
Another topic, a bigger topic that Uncle Murder's gonna have to address in the wrap up. Mm-hmm. His Brooklyn friend, Sean Carter, aka Jovito.
Oh boy. So
Jovito is one of the many 90 stars that's getting caught up in the 90 Rico. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know the 90 Rico I'm talking about. Yeah. R. Kelly went down for the 90 Rico. Uh-huh. Diddy is currently on trial for the 90 Rico. Mm-hmm. And now Sean Carter, aka Jay-Z, has some allegations from the 90 Rico. Mm-hmm. Pretty much about, and let me clear it up because I don't want people to think I'm making fun of this situation. So I'll get serious for a second. Pretty much about sexual assault, and that's no laughing matter. Mm-hmm. So everybody already pretty much heard this story, so I don't need to go a 30-minute synopsis. Mm-hmm. But the allegations came forward about Sean Carter being accused of sexual assault from a minor, a 13-year-old, at some type of awards after party in the early 2000s. And Jay-Z responded right away. Mm-hmm. Pretty much said, look, this isn't, what y'all think it is, and pretty much if you're saying I'm guilty, then let's do a criminal trial or however you word it.
Take it to trial.
Take it to trial.
Yeah. Whenever you're ready.
I can't say he's guilty or innocent. I'm not in the court of law. Mm-hmm. But this is what we're looking at within hip hop. With the whole background with Jay-Z, what are your thoughts on this situation that he's in?
I think as of right now, he doesn't have to worry, panic. But I think if something else comes afloat, he's gonna have to. I'm with you. He's innocent until proven guilty. I'm not trying to hear, oh, he must have did it. Due to unpopular opinion, I'm not gonna sit here and every time. Let me put it in a professional way. Every time somebody makes an accusation, I'm not just gonna believe it. Okay. You're gonna have to show me, the truth. But to coincide off of that. The point I'm making is that with Jay, we've been hearing the rumors. We've been hearing these rumors since back when he first started.
You going there
with a certain artist, a certain female artist that was on Shot You remix.
So leave a little bit of that for me.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
No. I just think that Jay is, I think this isn't a good look. I think that I think he did the right move by jumping out in front of it. And saying, look, whatever you want to do, I'm ready. Okay. Because I know what you're trying to do with those other guys, but you ain't going to do it with me.
Yeah. He made it very clear that he researched the lawyer's background and saw that this was a repetitive thing with him trying to get people to settle. And that's not saying he's guilty or innocent. I'm just putting out what's out there.
Right.
I'm with you on the same thing. It's good that he jumped out in front of it. And like I said, I wanted you to leave a little bit of that for me.
I ain't gonna say nothing.
Here's the situation with this. Whether you think he's guilty or innocent, there's going to be a larger conversation within the hip hop community, within our community in general, that's going to happen midway through this trial when they finally go to trial. Uh-huh. If this lawyer who is going up against Jay-Z feels like he's losing the case, he's going to have to throw a Hail Mary because this is too big of an artist. This ain't no you suing Joe Blow who ain't got no... You're suing one... Not you're suing. You're taking the biggest artist in hip-hop to trial.
Facts.
So if this lawyer feels like he's losing the case, he's going to throw a Hail Mary for public opinion. And a Hail Mary goes back to what you were talking about, which is there was a bunch of artists in the 90s, not just R. Kelly... not just Diddy, who are linked to dating. I'll frame it this way. young women who are barely legal. And by barely legal, I mean they're 17, 18. But the artist is well within their 20s.
Yeah.
The artist is 26, 27, 28.
Yeah.
And they're clinging on the age of consent,
Right.
which in New York is 17 or 18. Doesn't make it right, but if that lawyer throws that Hail Mary, and I'm predicting it, he's going to throw the Hail Mary and say, well, if Jay-Z is so innocent, how come there's been stories within hip-hop for the last 25 years of him dating teenagers? And everybody within hip-hop knows what we're talking about. It's not a conspiracy theory.
Yeah. Yeah.
Allegedly, I say allegedly for legal reasons. Allegedly, Jay-Z is linked to, back in the 90s, of having some sort of relationship with a 16-year-old Foxy Brown while he was well within his 20s. So going to this case he's currently in, even if Jay-Z is innocent of this case, when that lawyer throws that Hail Mary out and say, well, we have a history here that people can look at because Foxy Brown didn't confirm or deny it. She just said she's not speaking about it. She's going to keep it Brooklyn. I think he might want to come out and either deny or confirm because something's going to happen in the next 3 to 6 months.
Can I say something to that?
Go ahead.
She already was in an article. If you go back, well, see, that's my era. If you go back looking at old source magazines, she talked about that.
Oh, she did?
She talked about how she used to deal with Jay.
Oh,
she talked about it. She
so
kind of leaked it.
That's your era.
I think she was of age when she leaked that. That was when everybody in the industry was kind of turning their back on her because she was acting out. Well, allegedly. Let me say that. I don't know if that for a fact, but you was hearing like a lot of stories in the industry about her, and you not know like the whole stories, but just like acting out, like spitting on people.
Yeah, I remember that time.
So I think she had talked about like with Jay.
But
like
she was of age when she leaked the story.
Yeah, yeah.
But the incident happened when she was still allegedly a teenager.
I think so. Yes.
Okay.
Facts. Oh yeah. Because ain't no is they I think that if not mistaken that's when they was rocking with each other. You know.
And that's that's the conversation I'm leading to, which is the general public is gonna have to talk about why was there a bunch of artists in the 90s that were linked to teenagers.
Right.
It's an uncomfortable conversation, but this is where we're at.
Yep.
Because this ain't the first time. Now there's 2 other incidents, but those are, somebody might say, more allegedly than the Foxy Brown. The Foxy Brown is really the story people can link him to, but there's 2 other stories on top of that. And I'll leave that there. So with that situation, what are your thoughts on that when that conversation comes up? Because it's going to come up.
What, the Foxy one?
No, I'm saying when that lawyer throws the Hail Mary and say, well, if Jay-Z's so innocent, then look at his past.
She's going to have to come out and say something. She's going to have to. I don't know how it's not going to look good in public perception. You know what I mean? So that might hurt him a little bit. But at this point, you know, Jay done came out and made it clear. You got to come with your A game. Or this is going to go left fast. And I'm pretty sure if this lawyer don't, like, win or convict or do whatever he's looking for, Jay's going to go after him.
Oh, yeah.
I can assure you. So I hope like after you don't walk through this door, you better do what you say you was gonna do.
Yeah.
It's not.
And that's why I
away.
said that's where the Hail Mary, in my opinion, is gonna have to come through. It's gonna have to throw a Hail Mary because it's gonna look crazy. You're not walking through this door and gonna get laid out.
Facts.
Because you know he's gonna countersue.
Yeah.
So he's gonna try to ruin his image by public perception, which is why I brought at that point. In my opinion, I think this conversation for hip hop is long overdue. I remember, like I was talking to you off camera about Cassidy, the rapper from Philly, and people was trying to, I guess, come at an angle with Cassidy saying, well, you did a song with R. Kelly. And Cassidy made it clear. He was like, we did one song when I was 20 years old, back in the early 2000s.
Right.
He said, I never hung out with him. But he made this point in his interview. He said, if y'all think R. Kelly was the only one running around here messing with chicks who are barely legal, who are 17, 18, and 19, y'all sadly mistaken.
Right.
He made that very clear. And we talked about stories like, what was it, Gloria Velez and Aaron Hall.
Yep.
Like, there's countless stories.
He was dealing with all young girls. And like that.
As I say, barely legal. You just turned 17 or 18.
Damn.
But you 26, 27.
Wilding.
You know. Wilding. I don't know what's gonna come, but that's gonna tie back into the, as I said, when we touched the Andrew Schultz situation, with him coming out saying, "Oh, well, y'all in hip hop want to protect black women." See, this is all gonna. That's why I said the conversation is gonna come up, because we're also talking on the back end, which I'm gonna point out about the Andrew Schultz situation. But I want to stay here for about 5 more minutes. So we saw this, and I'm not gonna say the person name. I'll leave the person name out of it. But we saw a situation like this, and outside of hip hop,
facts,
in our own community.
Yep, sure did.
A grown man who had multiple situations dealing with barely legal girls. And I'll leave his name out of it, but upstate New York. So long story short, I'll keep the story kind of pushing. 2000, what is it, 2006 or 7? So this is like mathematically 18 years ago. I'm a teenager. I'm 19. I got a little girlfriend or whatever. Long story short, I find out after a year of dating her, she was cheating on me. Found out who the dude was, however I found out. Found out he was 31 or 30 or 31. And I'll leave his name out of it.
Okay.
So I found out he was 30, 31. Long story short, somehow we get on the phone. And as a 19-year-old, yeah, I'm emotional. I'll keep it real with you.
We all were.
I was emotional at 19, yeah. So, yeah, you know.
Yeah.
He's talking to me crazy on the phone. So the first thing I do was I go to the internet. I say, well, he talking crazy like that. Let me Google him. Let me find out who he is, since he's talking to me crazy. You know, F you, F your mans, and, you know, whatever's whatever. And I'll leave names out of it. But he was talking, and this is when I was 220 pounds working out every day. I said, oh, okay, let me see who I'm dealing with.
Yeah.
So I type his government name, his first name and last name in Google, and what did I see? What was the first thing that popped up wasn't his social media accounts. The first article that popped up said, such and such arrested for inappropriate relationship with a 16-year-old at Schenectady High School where he worked at.
Oh,
so I said, hold up. So you wasn't just dealing with my girl who was a teenager. This article says, I think the article was 2 or 3 years. The article was a couple years older than that. So when I did the math, I said, hold up. If he's 31 right now, then he was about 26 or 27. And you were dealing with 17-year-olds, and you actually got arrested. So I print out the new, at this time, I lost the article, but I print out the news article. Because I said, nobody's going to believe this shit.
Yeah.
The way he was talking, nobody's going to believe it. So I printed out the news article. So when he was talking, I'm looking at the article like, this grown man has a history of dealing with girls who are teenagers. Here's where I'm going with this story. So when I approached the situation years later, because we live in a small city, so everybody knows everybody. So whether you like it or not, eventually you're gonna bump into somebody that knows him. So I bump into a mutual, and this person's trying to get me to go to some type of cookout. So I asked, I said, so who's gonna be at this cookout? Because I don't like going places unless I know who's there.
Right.
So this person's like, oh, this person, my friend, this person, my friend, this person, my friend, and then it gets this person, and the alarm rings off. I said, hold up, say that name again. Said such and such. I said, he light skinned? Said, yeah.
God.
I said, is he a 5% Muslim? One of them 5%, do the knowledge. What's today's mathematics?
Oh boy.
Said, yeah. I said, oh no, you can't put me in the same. You can't put me in the same room as that person.
Oh,
well, why
God.
not? So I tell the story. Oh, you tripping because he took your girl? I said, no. He didn't just take my girl. He took multiple teenagers. So let's get that out the way.
Right.
He didn't just take my girl, he took multiple teenagers.
Right.
And I framed it like that because I wanted to see their response. Why are y'all still hanging with this dude?
Right.
Why are y'all still allowing this person at the family function and y'all got daughters? Now you see where I'm going with this story.
I so see where you're going.
See, it took a couple minutes for me to get here. I was checking the temperature for the people that's around this individual in our community of Albany, New York.
Right.
Because he has a big family, and I'm not going to say nobody's name.
Oh, boy.
Has a big family. So I'm like, don't you got a daughter? Don't you got a daughter?
Yeah.
But he's still around to come around when y'all know he got arrested for dealing with a 16-year-old. I say that again slowly for my community. Don't you got a daughter? Don't you got a daughter? But he's still around to come around y'all when he got arrested for dealing with a 16-year-old. Maybe I'm tripping. You guys tell me, am I tripping about this? Going back to Jay-Z, there's a bunch of grown men who have been linked to teenagers, and it's a problem.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I was raised different. I didn't know when you were 26, 27, 28, 29, you were trying to talk to 17-year-olds.
I don't understand that. Can I say something?
Go ahead.
I just remember like coming out of high school and like I don't know, once I got to college, I went to like a community college. And not a community, but it's like a community college. It, you know, neither here or there. But there were like grown women in that college. I don't think a high school girl could ever do anything for me once I stepped foot on a college campus. So that was my first, like when I graduated from high school, I never really was going to college. I went to college parties, but I never was on a campus. Once I got on the campus, oh my God. Like you see grown women. There is nothing a high school girl can do for you. Yeah. Nothing. Even if she has the physique, she still can't do anything for you because she doesn't hold or possess the experience or the assets or anything that those women from the college campus do. So I just don't understand why. You're supposed to move up after
now
that.
You're talking about college, meaning if you're college age.
I'm an 18-year-old kid.
Hold on.
Okay, go ahead.
You're still talking about y'all still somewhat in the same age category. If you're 18 and she's 17, 18.
Yeah.
And that's quote unquote acceptable because you're still a teenager in college. I'm talking about beyond college. You ain't even in college. You 26, 27, 28. But I get your point. Yeah. Your point is valid.
Yeah.
You're saying even when you was 18, 19, and 20, you weren't looking back to the 16 and 17-year-olds. And that's how it's supposed to be. Hey, how long got by? How long? I know we're connected or whatever, but how long have I been hanging with you?
Like 20 plus years, man.
20 plus years. So you knew me when I was still a teenager, 18, 19.
Correct.
What type of girls have you seen me linked to in the last 20 years?
Always older women.
Or women my age.
Like your age and up has been what I've
consistent
seen.
For 20 years.
Yeah.
Never seen me at 20 trying to talk to a 16-year-old.
That's crazy.
Never seen me. Well, I've been married for a while. I've been with the same girl since 24, but before 24, before I got with her, when I was 21, 22, 23, and so forth. Never seen me 23 trying to talk to an 18-year-old college freshman. But some of y'all think that's cool out there, and this is the situation Hov is going to find himself in. So I'm tying it all together. Yeah. I'm telling you that conversation is going to make a lot of people uncomfortable. A lot of people going to be turning their head like, oh, that's not me. That's why I brought up the personal situation in my community because I saw it in real life. And I'll leave the person name out of it.
Yeah, I'm just good.
But it is what it is.
Jesus Christ.
You know?
Yeah.
So getting back to Jay-Z, I can't convict him in a court of public opinion. He's going to have to fight this.
Yo, wait. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Didn't you know what I'm having an epiphany? Remember Nick Cannon's interview with Dame?
Yeah.
And he asked him about that. Remember when he did that? He's like, so yo, why you ain't check your man when
he's in a video with R. Kelly?
Yeah, no, not even that. He was kind of insinuating. He's
that
like,
Aaliyah?
but when you saw it with Foxy, he's basically was saying it. He's like, yo, your man was over there dealing with Foxy Brown. He's like, I don't know. You got to ask him about that. You see, Dame didn't want to have nothing to do with that conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah, that was funny. That's why I'm laughing because he's like, I don't know. He's like, look, you asking me a question I can't answer. Like I wasn't around on me.
I think now he's gonna have well, not Damon, but now it's gonna have to be answered. And I know Hov is the inconspicuous person. Apparently, he lurks on social media because he came out and said it in certain ways. If you read the statement, like, "Oh, I saw all the conspiracy theories," that means he has to be tuned in.
Yeah,
that means he saw that Jaguar Wright interview and so forth. But you're not gonna be. Her? Well, they kind of did. They kind of went after Piers Morgan for that interview.
Yeah, but they ain't want to go after her. They're just trying to go around it because I think they know if they poke, like at some point, she's got something on him, man.
Yeah,
she's got something on him. She must know something, because they've done nothing. Nobody's done nothing to her. You know what I mean? But go ahead. I'm sorry.
Nah, but that's the crux of it. So you know, another topic that Uncle Murder's gonna have to write about in the wrap up. And I'm not gonna
Murder, if you listening, you should taking notes.
I'm not gonna go too much over this because this is actually old news. The Kendrick Lamar versus Drake. That's old news by now. We all know this. Drake put out a lawsuit, not against Kendrick, but the record label, UMG. And something interesting came out of that battle.
Okay.
So while Kendrick Lamar was going viral for one of his songs, a line in Kendrick Lamar's song was, "Don't let no blank comedian talk about black women, that's law." He didn't say a name. He just said, pardon me, "Don't let a blank comedian talk about black women, and that's law." And that erupted something from a comedian called Andrew Schultz. So Andrew Schultz pretty much felt that line was directed at him.
Okay.
Now there's other white comedians. There's Gary Owens. There's other non-black comedians, but Andrew Schultz felt that line was about him. So I guess in a podcast, I forget the name of the podcast. Like comedians, he doubled down. He pretty much said, "Oh, you know, Kendrick's talking this, but he got records with Future, who don't care about black women," and then it got disrespectful. It went to, well, you know, nobody's really. He tried to clean it up by saying, yeah, his crew would beat me up, but if I was alone with Kendrick, I would do him dirty. He actually said, and this is where the internet erupted, he said, if I was in a cell with Kendrick Lamar, I would make love to him, and he would have to decide, is it consensual?
Oh, my God.
Because he feels that Kendrick Lamar is 5'6", he's short, and he could overpower him. So what Andrew Schultz is describing is classic rape. But that's his dark humor because he's a comedian.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think he took it too far.
But can comedians take it too far? Because certain people were caping for him, saying, well, what if that was Richard Pryor? What if that was Eddie Murphy? No. You think there's some context to this that...
Yeah, I mean, he just shouldn't have said that. I mean, especially in this era. It's just like, yo, you know how traumatizing that is? Do you understand that? Do you like, you know, and you talking about like, yo, you would why would you even?
That was his.
Why would what?
You could have said you could have stomped him out. Facts. I would body him. I would smack him up.
Would you say that? Why? Okay, if something happened to him, nobody should get upset.
But he started crying 2 days later.
He did?
Because the internet, I guess, started harassing his family. And
who, Andrew Schultz?
Yeah. People made comments under my wife's picture, and
yeah, I don't know nothing about that.
Oh, somebody made a comment under my child's picture.
No, that's too far too.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But you put the energy out there first,
right?
Like me and you always said, when you disrespect somebody, and I understand where it's too far, you can't dictate how them or the people around them respond.
Right.
So if I call you out your name, if I smack you, if I do something despicable to you, I can't dictate how your man responds. It would be nice if he plays by the rules, but
Yeah.
there's no rules in this.
Right.
So I just felt that was kind of interesting.
No. I get it. I get it. But my whole thing is like, I'm with you. Like, why you ain't just say, yo, I'll mollywop him or whatever? Yo, you say, yo, I would take him down.
Mm-hmm.
What's wrong with you?
So here's a bigger conversation on that same topic.
No, you don't get smacked for that. Go ahead.
Now, he's been in comedy for a while. Mm-hmm. And obviously, I'm not really familiar with him, but he's been in comedy for a while. Mm-hmm. But where he came into our space is because he kind of got a cosign from Charlemagne the God.
Yeah, I heard he just like didn't sit there and say anything.
So the conversation then becomes, are we mad at Andrew Schultz, or do we start looking at people like Charlemagne the God that keeps inviting these cats to the cookout that's putting their feet up on our table?
I don't know if you can with Charlemagne because he's never really opened a door for anybody to do something like that. So I don't think he knew it was coming, but I think he should put his foot down like, you can't be talking like that, man. Like, you know how traumatizing that is? Like, do you hear yourself? But Kendrick caught you slipping and came somewhere. First of all, height has nothing to do with it.
Short people can fight.
Son, Mike Tyson. You see how many people he knocked out? That was big, 2 times his size, and rocked them, right? So that has nothing to do with it. You just hoping that that's what happens because you got height over him. You don't want to be embarrassed and getting your ass whooped. That's one. 2, you shouldn't even be. I just don't know why you would go there with that.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever talk to another man like that and say, yo, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna beat you. I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do, and yo, you just gonna lay down and
take it.
Take it. Like what? Who? Why? Sorry. Why? Why would you do that? So I don't get it. Maybe it's just me.
I think a conversation, because a lot of other things is happening in the background. I know you're not too in tune with social media. Like, I'm really on the socials a lot.
Yeah.
But there's a conversation about gatekeeping our hip hop culture because people is kind of putting their feet up on our table, getting comfortable rearranging the furniture too much within the culture of hip hop.
Right.
So there was another conversation on the back end of this. It was some famous blog. I forget the name of the blog, but it's big because a lot of rappers freestyle on it.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it real quick. Give me 2 seconds. On the Radar Radio.
Okay.
So On the Radar Radio, pardon us, is a platform, and one of the producers on there, I forget his name, he's non-black. He made a statement that had people scratching their head. You can walk through, Ty. Shout out to our engineer that makes all this possible.
Facts.
Facts. He made a comment that made a lot of people scratch his head. He got on camera after eating off hip hop culture and said, yo, man, when it comes down to production, I really don't like when I hear soul samples in hip hop. Now, me and you don't have to understand what I'm saying because we live the culture.
Right.
What you mean you don't like soul samples in hip hop? That's the special sauce in our gumbo.
Right.
Yo, get that out of here. That's what he said. While he's eating off the culture.
That's crazy.
What are your thoughts on cats from the outside who's eating off the culture making statements like that?
I think that's crazy. Like, I think that's ignorant, naive, and stupid. That's me being nice about it. What are you? Why would he even say I don't like that soul music? No, nobody asked. First of all, what soul does he have? Like, there would be no Wu-Tang, Public Enemy, Biggie. You know, classic songs, classic music.
That sample James Brown.
Yeah, soul music. What are you doing?
This is why I like where there was an artist from Cali that said this. They were interviewing him, and I forget the young blood's name, but Charlemagne asked him, like, when did you fall in love in hip hop? And he kind of retorted, and it took them a while to get to what he was saying. He was like, what you mean when I fell in love in hip hop? There's no date on that. That's like asking when you fell in love with your mother. You don't, you just do. You're born into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when we hear statements like that from within our culture, you don't like soul music, you don't like James Brown because you're not us.
Right. Right.
Those where those soul samples come from. People sampling Sam Cooke.
Yeah.
Like those classic R&B singers and funk singers and blues singers and Miles Davis, and the list goes on and on and on for the classic songs that got sampled to make hip hop records. That Dr. Dre sampled to make Snoop. Like, you'll be surprised at some of the samples that made the classic songs.
Yeah, he's bugging out. He's seriously bugging out.
That means you don't like the culture of hip hop. But the problem is we got comfortable with saying everybody's accepted within our culture, and they're now starting to say,
show their ass. Yeah.
Well, not just show their ass. They want to rearrange the recipe, because when you take soul out the recipe, that's like taking the seasoned salt out the food.
Mm-hmm. Which is nasty.
So now you can say that everybody owns it.
Right.
Everybody created it. No.
He said no.
So that's just my thought on that, man.
Right.
Before we get off the hip hop topics, you brought something up to my attention, so I want to honor it. December 10th was the 28th anniversary of Redman's Muddy Waters album.
Correct.
So while we're still discussing hip hop, can you discuss how important that album was from Redman and what did it mean for the culture of hip hop?
The Muddy Waters album was banging. That was I think that was Redman's third album. That was after There's a Dark Side. And I think what was important about that, because There's a Dark Side was okay.
Yep.
But it wasn't Redman up to what they had thought it was going to be. So
can I cut you off?
Go ahead, yeah.
There's a special ingredient in Muddy Waters.
Yeah.
What's that ingredient?
Eric Sermon?
Thank you.
Yes, Eric Sermon. He had the song Whatever Man. That was big. I think Pick It Up was on there.
Mm-hmm.
I think, oh my God, there's a song right now that it's in my head. The joint with K Solo. I forgot it.
It's like that.
Yeah,
My big brother.
Yeah, the joint with K Solo. Like, he really went out on that. And that Muddy Waters album, like, kind of got him back up to where we thought he was going to be. Because There's a Dark Side. They had that, but that wasn't. I don't think it wasn't a bad album. It just didn't hit the way the first album did, like what the album. This Muddy Waters album, it kind of propelled him to where we thought he was going to be and who he was.
And for context, this is in 1996, but this is late 1996. We just lost Tupac. Mm-hmm. Tupac dies in September. Biggie's still here. Nas is here. Wu-Tang Clan is here. Mm-hmm. And all the classic 90s hip hop rappers. And he drops that, being from Jersey, pitting on for Jersey.
Yeah.
And he's still going strong.
Still doing it.
I think that's the thing I wanted to bring up, because he still, as an elder states in hip hop, is dropping freestyles. He's embraced the social media era. Yeah. As you tell me, yo, D, you dropped another video on YouTube, like people not paying attention.
Yeah. Yeah, it's ill, man.
And I like that for him, because as an elder person in hip hop, we're seeing our culture grow old gracefully right before our eyes.
Yeah.
That's, for me, looking at Redman. He personifies hip hop aging gracefully. Mm-hmm. He still looks in shape. He's working out. He's spitting very fluidly. Yeah. Creating, still doing dope tracks. So big salute to Redman for that, man.
Redman is doing his thing. Yeah, he's still doing it, man. I think he was like definitely, him and Meth, when they got together, that was even more crazy. So it just Redman has always been slept on. He held Jersey down though. Him, Naughty by Nature, Queen Latifah. I know they talk about all those guys, but Redman, he definitely got busy.
Yeah. I got a little slight audible.
Okay.
Do you got something you want to talk about within hip hop?
No, not right now, no.
All right, so I think over the last couple podcasts, I've been talking about me personally, how I consume hip hop. Mm-hmm. And pretty much, long story short, I went back to buying physical albums, physical vinyls, physical tapes, as a way that I know I'm supporting the artist.
Right.
Because as Drake said, for his reason of suing, the record labels are manipulating the numbers. So I felt, what better way to support the artists I like underground than the actual buy their physical copies.
Right.
So an album that I just brought is from an artist from New York City, Aguilar the Don. Shout out to Aguilar the Don, who just released Black Richport. He's a Puerto Rican cat from New York City. Most young people, well, if you're my age in your 30s, you probably heard of Aguilar the Don from an offshoot of Dipset called Purple City, which was with him, Shice Bubs, A Mafia, and a few other cats.
Right.
But as me and you discussed, he was putting in work way before that Purple City era. He's posting videos up on his channel with him freestyling with KRS-One back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Him on stage with Biggie. When I asked you about him, what was your thoughts? What did you say about Aguilar the Don?
He was a dope artist that was slept on and never got his shot. I feel like he never got his shot. That was just my opinion. I think he's more than just, that Purple City and all that. He was way more than that, man. That was an Illmatic cat, but he never got his shot. I don't know what happened. I don't know why. I'm pretty sure one day he's going to tell that story. I would love to hear it, but he never. He's one. Let me say this. In this industry, even when I was at Loud Records interning, I saw a lot of artists fall through the cracks. That was way better than a lot of artists that got their shot. And he's one of them.
Okay.
He's one of them. He fell right through the crack, and I don't understand it. Like, what did you see in a dude that sings, I want to be a little bit taller, I'm a baller, but you don't want to hear this dude that's just spitting Illmatic lyrics.
And he's a producer.
Yeah.
So he's producing tracks too.
Yeah. I just don't understand why you don't want to talk to this guy. You know what I mean? Give him a shot. So that's just my opinion.
Yeah, dope album. I'm going to show the artwork. Shout out to my Boricuas out there. My Puerto Rican brother. I'm half Puerto Rican.
Right.
You can't stream this. This is why I buy hip hop. I support just how we grew up in the 90s and early 2000s before the streaming era.
Before the streaming era. Buying CDs.
Shout out to Aguilar the Don for dropping this. Dope. It personifies the New York City sound within the culture of blending African American and Puerto Rican culture. This is why he named it Black Richport, because Puerto Rico was named Richport.
Right.
Has a song on there called Black Puerto Rican Culture, where he's actually giving it up to the African Americans, saying, I'm not trying to steal it as a Puerto Rican. I'm acknowledging the blacks started it, but we also blended in with this as Puerto Ricans within New York City. Because that was a whole topic. That was a whole topic out there. Remember, Lord Jamar and them was going back and forth arguing over, blacks and Hispanics and so forth.
Right.
And this is why this album from Aguilar the Don is so important, for him representing that culture from New York City. I'm gonna show the album again. And yes, I do got a CD player at home. I do got the CD player.
Oh God. Yo.
Salute to Aguilar the Don for all what he's doing in hip hop. And I'm gonna keep saying this to the older artists, the artists that's above the age of 35. Even if you're underground, mainly for the underground older artists. We remember how we supported you guys back in the 90s and early 2000s. We remember you guys at the after hour spot saying, yo, you want to buy my CD for $5 or $10.
Right.
We remember going into the mom and pop stores, buying your tapes or CDs or DVDs. Yeah, I'm gonna keep ringing the alarm. All of you older artists from the underground need to release physical music, flash drives, vinyls, tapes, CDs. They can't stream this. This is more quantifiable. And as I said in previous podcasts, the record labels are doubling back and they're starting to sell physical copies of music.
Right.
Go look on the Def Jam site. Go look on the Interscope site. They're starting to sell 20-year collection album from Wu-Tang.
Right.
So all you underground artists, keep this going, because this is real hip hop. So now that we done with our hip hop section, we got like a lot of current events within, I don't want to say politics, but kind of political.
Right.
It was a topic you wanted to talk about with Daniel Perry. I'm sorry.
So yeah, there's everybody knows with Daniel Perry, he was acquitted. Daniel Perry, former Marine, he, you know,
Can we give a quick synopsis on what happened in the situation?
well, in May of last year, on a subway, there was a young black kid by the name of Jordan Neely,
Yep.
who clearly had mental illness. He suffered from mental illness. He supposedly, allegedly got on the train. He started making threats. He started making people uncomfortable. This was clearly not a first-time incident. Jordan Neely, Daniel Perry decided that because of the threats he heard, he decided to take Jordan Neely down. And basically what he did is he put him wrestled him down and put him in a chokehold and choked him out.
Mm-hmm.
He choked him to death and he died. Jordan Neely died. I think what was disturbing about the situation, because a lot of people say, well, you know, hey, he was making, you know, he's making threats or whatever. This kid died.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing. Okay, first of all, I'm bothered that he put his hands on him anyway. But second of all, you know, it's not the fact that, you know, it's not that I could have lived with it. Okay, you attacked him, but he's alive.
Yeah.
You took this dude down and you choked him out. And if you've seen the video, then you see two other people over
Holding
there
him down.
trying to hold him when he's trying to break free because he's dying. There's things I want to say. I'm going to refrain myself from promoting violence. I just want to say this. If that was my child, everybody in that video should be concerned and put their affairs in order. That's all I want to say. Mm-hmm. That's a father's reaction. That is the most disturbing thing to see. So I guess to kind of, because I don't want to be all over the place, because you know how I get going sometimes. Yeah. Point I'm making is there was an article in USA Today, and it bothered me.
Can you show the paper?
Okay, so yeah, it's an article
today. Because we're still from the era where we buy newspapers.
Right. So there's this article from in the USA Today. It's the opinionated part of the whole Daniel Perry situation. And I think what bothers me about it, two things. I mean, Daniel Penny, I apologize, Daniel Penny. Before I get into this article, so there was $3 million raised for this dude for his defense.
Because the public called him a hero.
And it was from a Christian right wing, which let me not even get started on that. But there's the opinion article, and one is coming from Nicole Russell, and the other one is coming from Sarah Paquino.
So before we get into it, can you name the two writers again from the opinionated part?
Nicole Russell, which she was defending Daniel Penny's actions on Jordan Neely, right? And she was calling him a hero. And then there was Sarah Paquino. I hope I'm not butchering your name. I completely apologize if I am. But she was also stating it from an objective fact from Jordan Neely. So it's kind of looking at it from two different opinions. Mm-hmm. What I kind of got from when I looked at Nicole Russell's article, opinionated article, she was basically saying that she was just looking at the statements from the case. And clearly she said that, Jordan Neely had got on there, it started making threats. People felt uncomfortable. People were tired of him because this wasn't his first time. And in her eyes, she's been in situations where she's felt threatened and threatening situations. Now, I don't know what she's talking about, but then I'm going to give my opinion. So let me just follow me. So she starts talking about, how, it's a good thing that he was around and that he's a Marine and that he, at first she wasn't with the way he handled the situation. But then when she looks at the statements or the facts, not even facts, but the accusations about Jordan Neely, she kind of understood why Daniel Penny did what he did. Mm-hmm. And then she said that, she used the word that she called him a hero, which to me, in my opinionated word, that's total BS. He's not a hero for choking out a mentally ill person that clearly has severe mental illness. And when you look at the background of it, I don't understand. He's a hero. How is he a hero? You act like he was taking down some dude that was terrorizing the whole train. Mm-hmm. He just was getting on people's nerves, and they decided they had enough, and he chose to put him in a chokehold, and he didn't let him go. It's clear as day in the video. So now let me give you the flip side. Sarah Paquino, who it was talking about it and being very, very much objective, just as objective as she was, she talked about it, and she said that, Jordan Neely, he suffered from mental illness. So starting at age 14, his mother, but people didn't know, his mother was murdered by her boyfriend. He watched that. He saw that. He was a victim of that. So he entered the foster care system. He had multiple run-ins with law enforcement. He experienced homeless immediately all through his life. He went through all types he was schizophrenic. He had all types of situations, episodes. I'm not defending this guy, but there was clearly other ways that this could have been handled. And if you clearly knew that this gentleman was on a train and that he had certain issues and a mental illness, somebody could have called. You heard people in the background saying to let him go. He didn't let him go. He chose to choke him out. And the thing about this case that infuriates me is what people are not talking about. They try to sweep this under the rug. And I don't know how it got out, but I think people was like, nah, like this needs to be addressed. They weren't even pressing charges. It just got so much attention they had to press charges. So then they press charges and they take him to court. But Jordan Neely clearly had some issues, and he clearly was going through a lot. And it was talking about how in this case, with Sarah Miss Sarah Paquino, once again, she was talking about, now listen to this part of the article, and this is what is very disturbing. She said that despite finding Neely she said that when the cops got there, right?
Yeah.
She said despite finding Neely not breathing when they arrived, police officers did not give him mouth-to-mouth resuscitation and took minutes to begin chest compressions. In the testimony, Sergeant Carl Johnson said he didn't tell his officers to give Neely mouth-to-mouth, fearing they would contract AIDS or another disease. I'm not done yet. Instead of being treated like a person experiencing a mental health crisis, Neely was treated as a perpetrator. It's hard not to think about how these moments could have played out differently had a healthcare professional been the one to answer the call. Let that sit there. They didn't do anything to him because they was afraid of contracting the AIDS virus. How ignorant can you be, right? And then she also talks about somewhere in this article, I'm not going to break down the whole thing. Let me just say this. The one thing that I think that, and I agree with her that what's going to happen is, the message, I'm kind of concerned more about the message. So now if this guy got acquitted and nothing ever happened to him, he did some vigilante thing. Yeah. It was vigilante justice. Oh, well, I'm going to protect the people that need to be protected as, what's her name? Sarah Russell, Nicole Russell stated. He took vigilante justice, and we need that type of vigilante justice around. Let me tell you, as a New Yorker, and you from the island too, because you stayed there, that happens every day on the train. That happens every day. So what you gonna say? Are you really trying to paint a picture like we were just getting terrorized every day? You know what people do when they see that? They tune it out, ignore it, or they get off the train and wait for the next train, or they move to the next car. Do not act like he got on that train and y'all were just in total shock and didn't know what to do. What it was is a bunch of cowards, and you watch this dude who, I'm sorry, I don't know if it quacks like a duck and sounds like a duck. It clearly is one. You choked out this young defenseless black boy, and you decided and you got away with it. Let's just call it what it is.
Can I interject?
And oh, by the way, Nicole Russell, on her opinion, she's a mother of 4 that lives in Texas. So clearly, this is a real. Her opinion is, I don't know. I'm not going to say nothing. Let that just sit there. Whereas with Sarah Paquino, she's a native New Yorker. She gets on the train. So like me, she's seen this every day. This is not that bad. You choked this kid out, man. Yeah. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
The interjection is coming from, because I was reading some comments on social media. Oh, don't try to make this about race, because there was like either a black and a Hispanic person that was there holding him down as well. So this wasn't a race, and then there was a black. Like the way they painted it was, they tried to shield Daniel Penny by saying there was other black people around him okaying it. What is your thoughts on that?
They probably was one of the ones that said tell him let him go.
But, no, the black person holding him down that was stopping him. No.
I don't remember seeing a black. I think I've seen a Spanish person.
Like it was a brown person.
Let me tell you something, man. I think people of color, black people, whatever you want to call us at this stage. I mean, they said that they didn't do anything about it. They probably were ignoring it at one point because this is what we do. Let's just be honest. when we see somebody acting like that. That kid got choked. If I was there, that would have never happened.
Mm-hmm.
If I saw that kid stop breathing or he looked like he's about to check out, I'd have started kicking Daniel Penny. He got his head whooped. Come do that to me and see if you make it home.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to choke out young black boys. And let me tell you something. As much as black women need to be protected, and I'm not saying that black men are weak, we need to watch each other's back.
Mm.
There was no way, and if there was black people on that train that saw that, and black men that were physically capable of dealing with Daniel Penny, they are cowards too, and they need to get locked up. There's no way you should let him choke that little black boy out.
Mm.
What was Daniel Penny going to do? I mean, I think we've not Daniel Penny, Jordan Neely. I think we've seen pictures of him. He physically can't fight this dude. You choked this dude out, and the dude had a muffin in his pocket. So what did he have that you thought he was doing?
I think I seen him in New York because you lived there, and I lived in Long Island, where I had to take the train in to see. I think I've seen him a while. This dude looked like 140 pounds soaking wet. So
no threat.
So it's not a threat. It's like I when we talked about this last year, I got 3 other brothers. I got cousins, boy cousins. We play wrestle when we were young. Mm-hmm. We know how to properly restrain each other.
Right.
We know when putting somebody in the fiend chokehold was too much. Because you're not about to kill your cousin and have to answer to your grandmother because you were sitting there choking out your cousin for 6 minutes.
Right.
Like, let's really think. Boys play wrestle. Never had a problem getting choked or choking out my brother because we knew the consequences. See where I'm going with this? Mm-hmm. There was a proper way to restrain that dude, even if everything you're saying is correct. If you fear because he was terrorizing people, body slam him, keep him on his stomach until the cops come. Sit on his back. Am I tripping about that?
No, and you know what's bothering me? I guess the father was upset, which I don't. That's another story for another day. Mm-hmm. I can just say this: if I was the father, I would find out when he was riding that train. I would be finding those dudes. I just give it time. Just give it time. Just give it time. I think it goes to what we've been knowing from day one. It's just like, and I'm not trying to be funny with the whole, I'm not even trying to get into that Trump thing, but let me say this much. We're seeing who America is. They are making it clear how they see and look at us. And they have no value in our lives. So I'm just telling you, as if you're a young person of color, because trust me, if you're Spanish, trust me, you are not absolved. They will do it to you too. They're showing you and showing and telling you we have no regard for black men, for black men's lives or people of color's lives. They're showing you. What more do you need to see? What more do you need to see? I don't understand it. And let me tell you something else that may not be a popular opinion. I won't say no names as of right now because we have a lot more we got to talk about. I'm sick and tired of fathers crying on camera. What you crying for? Mm. What are you crying for? Go deal with it. And I don't want to hear, no, not to cut you off, I don't want to hear let's praise Jesus and forgive him. I can forgive him after I do what I got to do. I'll forgive him after that. How about that? Mm. So when I do whatever I got to do, how long I got to wait, and like I said, we're not going to promote violence on this, and we're not going to do it. But the way I feel right now, trust me when I tell you, it all circles back around to where we're going to go with this. Let me make this side note. We just seen what happened with Lil Durk. They went through other states and flew on planes to deal with something when it was their own people and then somebody that looked like them. When it's that, people just sat on there and just watched. And the fathers are crying.
Say that again.
Nobody's gonna go take a plane, a flight. Nobody's gonna make a call. Nobody's gonna risk their freedom for that. But for a situation where
it's your homeboys,
and it's over,
street related,
it's over the most dumbest crap. That's the word I'm gonna use. You willing to do life? You're gonna do 25 years of life for that?
Well, I know we was getting off of hip hop, but I don't know if you saw today they tied another murder to Lil Durk. So now he's facing 2 murder for hire charges. Crazy. Not just the one on King Von, but Lil Durk's older brother got killed around the same time, and they're saying that he had something to do with hitting the person that killed his brother.
Let me say this too. I think that needs to how can I make this a way? So because I know you always kind of school me on things. I will say this: until it's one of them. They're going to keep doing it. This ain't going to be the last time. So if you don't want to keep sitting up there crying and praise Jesus and call Al Sharpton and the network to go sue somebody and get some money, it's going to keep happening. Because that's how they look at it. We'll pay you. Don't that sound like slavery? We'll pay you for this life. You know, they want a civil lawsuit. Yay! You can have that money. I want something from you that's priceless that you ain't gonna get back. That's what I want. And then we can forgive you. We can praise Jesus all day and forgive you. That's what we can do.
I hate to pit. Words are powerful, so I'm gonna try to parse my words.
Yeah.
But my father said a similar thing. And I don't like putting this negative energy out in the universe, but he said, if anything ever happened to you, son, I already lived my life.
Yep.
He said, my father now is 60 years old. We had this conversation like, I was in my 20s, so my father was in his 40s when we had this conversation. He said, I could deal with if something happened naturally, natural causes. I'll cry, I can deal with it. But he said, if anything happened, this around the Trayvon Martin situation and the Tamir Rice, he said, if anything like that were to happen to you, he said, and I'm going to paraphrase it, Dad, so don't get at me, pretty much that he's putting his Christianity to his side.
Yeah, you got to.
I lived my life, and he said, they going to hell with me.
Yep.
That's exactly the words my father said. He said, if anything happens to you like Tamir Rice, like Mike Brown, like Trayvon Martin, I'm meeting them in hell.
Yeah. I just gotta take
and
that
I'll just
loss.
I'll just leave it at that.
I just gotta take that loss. I'm just gonna have to do it. Let me tell once again I apologize for Sarah Pequeno. I am so sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. But I agreed 1,000% with her article. If you want, go look at it on USA Today. It's in the opinion section. It's very, very powerful of some of the statements that she made, and I appreciate. And also for the other one, Nicole Russell, I even though I don't agree with her, I do get where she's coming from. She's just painting a picture of the other side of it. And then Antoine Daniel, I don't know if you know who he is.
I know who Antoine Daniel is.
And I agree with a lot of what he says. Even when I don't agree with it, I see his point. On this one, and you can go check his video, I do not agree with anything he's saying. You lost me on that one, brother. That's one loss. That's one L. You mean you ain't gonna see eye to eye. But go ahead, I'm sorry.
Nah, that's it. So we got one more topic in current news that Uncle Murder is gonna talk about in the wrap up before we talk about our sports
Murder,
topic.
I hope you're taking notes, man.
So here's a newspaper, the Daily News, December 12, 2024, and the headline is "Whack the CEO," and it's pretty apparent by where we're going with this topic. So the news that hit New York City was the CEO of United Healthcare got his wig split in broad daylight in New York City at 6:50 in the morning. Do I need to give a synopsis? Like, it's been all over the news.
I don't think so, but if you want to.
And a young man, Luigi, because that's his name, pretty much put the hit out. And it was, before I get into kind of the back and forth conversation, it was kind of interesting because they of course went through his background. This is a kid that comes from money, kid that comes from an upper class, kid who's college educated, got a bachelor's, got a master's. But he kind of went into a class issue where he was like, yo, like, y'all just don't understand, like, this isn't right what's going on in the healthcare industry, which we all know. If you have any knowledge of the healthcare industry on a base level, there's a bunch of people who get their claims denied from the proper medical treatment that they need, whether it's prescription pills, whether it's a surgery, whether it's a pregnancy. We're paying all this money for healthcare. Certain healthcare plans cost thousands of dollars a month, especially if you have a family. So just imagine if your spouse has cancer and needs chemotherapy and their claim gets denied and now you're in medical debt. Before we get into the conversation, y'all can look this up. At one point in the late 90s, early 2000s, medical debt was on par with student loan debt. I'm going to say that again. In the late 90s and the early 2000s, medical debt was on par with student loan debt. This is why people always had this thing like, I'm not going to the hospital unless I'm on my deathbed because You were scared if you broke your foot, and now you got a $20,000 bill that you can't afford. Like, you'll hear the horror stories from all Americans.
Right.
See, this thing ain't got no race on it. This ain't a black, white thing. This was an American thing. People sitting up there, yo, I got my claim denied. Now I got a bill for $80,000. I got to declare bankruptcy. Insert this situation. This happens. There's a background with him having an injury, whatnot. But long story short, he apparently camped out in New York City for the day, and we saw the camera footage. Clapped him, got up close on him, unjammed the gun, walked him down, and then got out of there and got caught a few days later. So the conversation has been going back and forth on all angles, conservative media, non-conservative media. I heard Stephen Smith talk about it. People are upset because he's being called a hero. Understand the conversation we just came from?
Yeah.
What conversation did we just come from about
Jordan Neely?
About Daniel Penny being called a hero?
Right.
Now, people understand when Daniel Penny is called a hero. I see Elon Musk and everybody, yeah, he's a hero. But Luigi is not a hero. What are your thoughts on this topic?
You said Luigi's not a hero?
They're saying he's not a hero, and we don't need to be condoning what he did.
What's my opinion
What's your opinion on the overall topic of Americans coming together? They're saying F the Republican Party, F the Democrat Party. I got a story within my family. My mother had a surgery, and now she got $20,000 in medical debt. This is BS. So we don't have empathy that CEO got his wig split. Nope. What are your thoughts on that?
I see their point. You can't have no.
Like people saying that's not the American way.
Dog, if they
hold on, I'm gonna say this in the camera again. America wasn't built on taking manners in your own hands. How was this country founded?
Through slavery and a whole bunch
through
of
bloodshed.
Yeah.
But we had a congressperson or a person in politics get on camera and say, I don't understand. This is not the American way. And this person is seen signing bombs that's being sent to Israel.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Did you see the day where the interview came out where Trump was talking about he's probably going to let the people from January 6th out?
Yep.
He said, yo, I'm probably gonna let them out. And he tried to make every excuse. Yo, I think we about to go into a purge, fam. I think it's coming right around the corner. You letting too many vigilantes just run around doing what they doing, and you're not chin checking them. Daniel, I keep telling you with Penny and all them, they about to wild out. Your man just popped the healthcare dude.
Can I get a close up one? Well, not a close up. I'm showing a picture of the article. Go ahead.
Yeah, your man just popped the healthcare dude.
CEO. Not a worker. I think it's important to say that.
I know I'm not saying it's politically correct. I'm not trying to sound sensitive, but your man popped
Brian Thompson, the CEO.
He bodied him, right? And I'm pretty sure he ain't gonna get the death penalty.
But that's another part of the conversation.
Hold
on. He now has. Huh?
It's in New York, so they're working
out. They not gonna get okay.
But here's the part. Do you think a jury of his peers is gonna convict him? I know that sounds crazy because in this article it's saying all the evidence is there. All the evidence is there. But is a jury of his peers gonna actually convict him? Now I'm putting that take out there. I want to see what the jury's gonna say.
I wonder if he's gonna claim insanity. He's gonna have to.
You see where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
But he kind of put statements out there that might screw him. He said he didn't have mental health issues. I'd have kept my mouth shut on that.
Facts. Yeah.
But back to the original topic. From the conservative media that got mad, say, I don't understand why you guys are praising him. Do you think it's fair, understanding the context of what we know about this country, what we know about our people, what we went through, what we know about certain rebellions? do we think it's fair that he's being called a hero?
Yes. I think it's quite fair. They don't like that he's being called a hero.
Nope.
Why? He took matters into his own hand. Just like the people in January 6th. They were in distress. They shouldn't have been. I don't know. I'm sorry. As you're talking about this, I'm just thinking about what Trump said that I saw in that interview. That's crazy. So I think where I'm putting this two and two together, it just seems like the more you take it in your own hands, the more understanding they are.
Apparently, you just got through reading an article about Daniel Penny. He's being called a hero for choking out somebody, and all the media says that was understandable.
Yeah.
Here's some context. For the United Healthcare, the data came out that said they are responsible for denying, and I don't know which year or if it's consistently year in and year out, that United Healthcare is responsible for denying 33% of claims.
Wow.
Not 5%, not 10%, 33% of medical claims.
Mm-hmm.
That's somebody not getting their insulin.
Right.
That's somebody not, maybe you get the surgery, but now you're in debt for $50,000, $60,000, $70,000.
Right.
Or maybe you can't afford the heart transplant or the heart surgery.
Mm-hmm.
Now you have a chronic illness and you can't get the medication.
Mm-hmm.
So the same way that he died, he indirectly, or not him, but the company indirectly caused a lower quality of life at best, or thousands of people to die.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say that again. At best, they cause people to have a lower quality of life. At worst, they are complicit in killing thousands of people, Americans of all races. This is why I said it's not a white thing, it's not a black thing, it's an American thing. So if you can stand by policy, by capitalism that's causing Americans to die, then why should I have empathy for somebody getting a leg split? That's my thoughts on it. So Uncle Murder, like I said, you got a lot to write about. And if I'm you, Uncle Murder, my suggestion is don't make this a long 10-minute song.
Yeah.
Make the wrap up an album. So now we're going to close this out. Our last segment is multiple sports topics. We're going to go through all the sports topics that we want to talk about.
Okay.
Before we go there, do you got anything else you want to interject or talk about?
I just want to say is I'm specifically talking to black males. When you walk out that door at night, be careful. When you walk out that door in the daytime, be careful. Please, man, be careful.
And let me say,
the message is being sent. They don't care about our lives.
Let me say this too. Thank you for saying that.
Yeah.
So as I often said on this podcast multiple times, I don't have to look at a YouTube video to understand this time period.
Yeah.
I still have family. You still have family in the deep South where we can just talk to them about how that time period went. One story that I heard in the 90s, and this was like at a family reunion in Mississippi where my father, uncle is walking with their elders. And it was like, yeah, when we walk this way, now this is in the 90s. This ain't the 70s, the 60s, this is in the 90s.
Right.
We walk in groups. Read between the lines of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We walk in groups.
Yeah.
Because it's still on. Not the 70s, not the 60s, this story is taking place in like 94, 95.
Right.
So understand, since we're slowly going back there policy-wise and we're seeing the stuff play out in the news, we might have to start doing what our elders did. It don't have to be violent, just to look out for your boy.
Yeah.
Y'all leaving somewhere from a club, make sure that person gets on a bus, train, or in a car before you depart. That's just the way we're going to have to move to look out for each other.
Facts.
So let's get to our sports segment. It's a lot of sports topics. You want to start in the NFL first?
Yeah, we can start with the NFL, man. You know, those guys are funny. Yeah.
Shout out to Mike Tomlin. For those of you who don't know, I'm a diehard Pittsburgh Steelers fan.
Right.
So we'll briefly talk about the Steelers briefly. I don't want to say they overperforming, but apparently they just proved all the analysts wrong. Because if you remember what the summer storyline was, well, I don't know what they think they're going to do with Russell Wilson. Mike Tomlin is going to get fired.
Yeah.
And now they're sitting on top of the AFC North. Before I give my opinion on the Steelers, what are your thoughts on what Russell Wilson is doing and how he's successfully turned around the narrative?
Salute out to Russell Wilson, because I think he's made a lot of people apologize and make them realize that they were wrong about the narratives.
Can I interject?
Yes, go ahead.
Because this might be a decent conversation.
You lead this way, yes.
A piece of this conversation everybody knows if you follow Russell Wilson, he was pretty much a Hall of Fame quarterback going into a bad situation in Denver, where I saw a coach called Sean Payton, and people really need to check his ass. Talk to him like he was a dog in the street.
Facts.
But because Russell Wilson is such a kind-hearted, kind of laid-back person, he took it on the chin, and everybody said, "Oh, good for him." Some of you guys are cowards.
Facts.
Because if it was Latrell Sprewell, you'd have got choked for saying that. We're all seeing it. We're all watching a video of him, like, pretty much. What Hall of Fame quarterback have you ever seen talk like that in public?
Super Bowl winning one. Yeah.
You know football more than me. Have you ever seen a Hall of Fame quarterback get berated like that on camera?
No.
Never.
No.
So Sean Payton thought it was in his best interest to talk to Russell Wilson like a dog in the street because they just didn't want him in Denver.
Yeah.
I really want to say something, but I'll get canceled.
You know what the thing is about that with Denver? Because they keep putting that all on Russell Wilson. That team was 3-13 under Nathaniel Hackett. How's that working out, the Jets in New York? You see their record right now?
With the great Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah. So it clearly wasn't Russell Wilson. Sean Payton comes in his first year and they go, I think they was 7-9 or 8 or 7 or 8 and 9, or you get what I'm saying? Like they were better, way better. So this year coming around, he probably would have been propelled them into the playoffs. But that's right, you was so thinking about Bo Nix, and clearly Bo Nix is doing a good job because they're 8-5. But Russell Wilson could have did that job and probably if even better. You just didn't want to pay him the money, which was ridiculous. And I don't know about Sean Payton. I don't know. The verdict is still out on him. Once again, if it quacks like a duck and sounds like one, I don't know what it is. You know what I mean? It's clearly what it is. So, I don't know.
So now we're seeing the fruits. We're seeing the fruits of the labor. They're 10-3.
The Steelers?
The Steelers. The Steelers are 10-3. They're on top of the division. They're way ahead of the Ravens and so forth. And it's looking like they're going to do more than just be a 500 team. Like, and again, I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch, but unless there's some major injury, they're going to finish probably like 12-5 or something like that.
Right.
Is there 17 games or 16 games?
17.
So I give them 12-5, maybe 13-4.
Right.
With that being said, and of course, I'm going to think hella positive. What happens if Russell Wilson wins more than one playoff game? What do you think should be the next steps? If I'm not getting to the Super Bowl yet, I'm not getting too happy.
Right.
But if he wins more than one playoff game, what do you think the Steelers should do?
Try to run a table. They should try to run it back next year. If they don't get to the Super Bowl this year, they should try to add whatever piece they need to make that last run. Because you only get some lane time, like the time the clock is ticking.
The window.
Yeah, the window. Like you only get a certain amount of time. We thought that the Legion of Boom was going to be rocking for the next 3 or 4 years. That didn't happen. Because between injuries, they couldn't keep contracts. They had to let go of some contracts. And the whole thing with Russell Wilson didn't work out in the end. So my whole thing is that at the end of the day, if the Steelers, depending on how they end the season this year, if they're like a step, just one step from getting into the Super Bowl, they need to go all out. They need to like figure it out, go all out. When training camp, when free agency starts, they need to just do what they got to do and dig in. because the time is now. You get what I'm saying? You got a young defense that's top 10. You have Russell Wilson, who's propelled the receivers. Oh my God, Freiermuth looks okay. He looks way better.
Oh yeah.
George Pickens. I'm pretty sure Mike Williams will come on as time goes on. Way better. Way better.
And this probably changed the narrative even of Mike Tomlin. On the Cameron's podcast, It Is What It Is, he has Snoop Dogg on there, who's an avid Pittsburgh fan, and they asked him, he said, I'm back there in the locker rooms, I'm hearing the talk from the upper management. They're not satisfied with being just a 500 team or having a winning record. They want to actually win something.
Right.
So with that energy being out there, I think this is going to be the year. Mm-hmm. I see at least one playoff win.
Well, let me say this: they're not happy with that. I think Tomlin made the right decision. I think people forget about last year, the job he did. So I know that they're saying they're not happy with just getting to the playoffs. They're lucky they got in the playoffs. It was so bad, and this is why I kind of feel bad for Kenny Pickett, because I felt like when they drafted him, he was under Matt Canada. You know how bad Matt Canada was?
God.
It was so bad that when Canada, I have never in my life, in all my years, ever seen this in football. I had a hockey game. They were talking about fire Matt Canada. Never in all the years of my life have I ever seen anything like that. So that's saying a lot. Then he flips the script. He makes the change. And then he puts in Mason Rudolph with the different offensive coordinator. And they do a hell of a job. They get better. They make the run, and they make it into the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Right? They did their thing. They're one of the 3 teams last year that made it to the playoffs. So I'm just trying to understand. They're saying this year. Now I get it. He has to do it. He has no excuses. Canada's not there to destroy the offense. You have a top 10 defense. Clearly, Russell Wilson is the guy.
Do you think he's ready for a Lamar Jackson playoff game? Because although we beat them, they're saying that Lamar Jackson is going to turn up in the playoffs, and that the Steelers don't want to see Lamar Jackson in the playoffs.
Didn't they already beat him twice?
Yeah.
Okay, so if my responsibility is, I guess we do. Matter of fact, we want to hold a mirror right up to him. Let's see what you can do for the third time. Let's just see. Can I ask you something?
Go ahead.
When the AFC North started, wasn't it about Cleveland and Deshaun Watson was going to turn the lead?
Yeah.
Wasn't it about Lamar Jackson was finally going to take over the reins?
Those were the storylines.
Wasn't it about that Joe Burrow was going to do his thing?
The great Joe Burrow.
So how's that all working out again?
Pittsburgh's
on top. And they're not on top by like a game and a half. They're 10-3 and Baltimore's 8-5. And those 2 losses that Baltimore needs to catch up to them was by the hands of the Steelers. So let me make this clear. Tomlin doesn't have to say anything. He just has to let it speak for itself. And I'm going to keep saying this. Everybody's quick to run him out the door saying it's his time. Who you going to go get and what you going to be dealing with? Because I think last year, when the whole thing with Kenny Pickett and Matt Canada and that whole mess, which I still think Pickett got a bad rep for that, I don't think that any other coach, it would have went south like how Nathaniel Hackett went in Denver. So I'm finding it hard to believe if y'all want to get him out there. I know y'all want to win and get to that. It's hard to win in that league. And you're in the AFC North division that at the end of the day, if Tomlin's not making the decisions and coaching the way he's coaching, you're probably like Cincinnati. They got all that talent. They got all that talent in the world, and they are not going to the playoffs. Let's just call it what it is. They lucky they won that game in Dallas Monday night. Dallas gave them that game. So, it is what it is. That goes to another conversation, but I'll wait till you bring it up because we talked about that.
Well, shout out to Steeler Nation. I'm not going to harp too much on it because we got 2 other topics to talk about, or 3. So I'm going to hand it over to you so we can discuss the Atlanta Falcons.
So the Falcons, clearly last year, it was a rough year, right? So this year, we didn't make the playoffs. They got rid of Arthur Smith. Here comes in i.e. Raheem Morris, the Rams defensive coordinator who they won a Super Bowl with. And we had him in the building before, but they chose to let him walk out the door, and then he goes with the Rams being the defensive coordinator and wins the Super Bowl. So that clearly wasn't a smart move. They got rid of Desmond Ridder. They felt like they could do better. They went out and got Kirk Cousins and drafted Michael Penix Jr. And at first, it looked good because Atlanta. I mean, the first game against the Steelers was not good, but you know, for a while it was looking good. They're 6-3. Kirk Cousins is doing the wave. He's waving back and forth. He's doing his thing, and then all of a sudden it went left, and it started after the Cowboys game. So what ends up happening is they were 6-3 and on top of the division. It looked like we were going to pull away, and then the Saints, we lost the game to the Saints, and then we got mollywopped by Denver, and then the Chargers when it came into Atlanta and beat us. And then Minnesota, who knows Kirk Cousins well, kind of stomped them out 21 points. So they are now 6-7, a game behind Tampa Bay, and now they're fighting to get in the playoffs. Now the good news is this is their first year. So I think, because I'm starting to hear the criticism about they should bench Cousins and put in Michael Penix Jr. No. You stick with Kirk Cousins. You got to remember this is his first year off the ACL. And I think
that was gonna be my next question. Like, what's the answer to this?
For how he's doing, I think he's doing a great job. He has some playoff contention, so we're only one game behind Tampa Bay. I think that it's going to be a great thing. I think we'll be okay. Raheem Morris needs to work on that defense because I think there's pieces that even though it looks good right now, there still needs some work to be done. Minnesota scored 42 points. And Denver mollywopped them too.
38-6.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's clearly some issues in there, and it needs to be taken care of defensive-wise. But I think they're going right in the direction they're supposed to be going into. So I think right now being 6-7, it's not a bad thing. I think that we right where they need to be. It's their first year, and the first year they're fighting for a playoff spot. You can't ask for no more than that because I know they didn't think they was going to be doing no Super Bowl.
No. Yep, one game behind Tampa.
And right, and you're in a conference. You're in a conference with the NFC North. That's the premier division right now.
The NFC North.
Yeah.
Real quick, I don't want to audible.
No, go ahead.
But the storyline for the last couple of years have been the turnaround from the Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
What are we seeing from the Detroit Lions? And obviously they're in contention. People think they can get far in the playoffs. What are you seeing from the Detroit Lions that you like?
They're physical. They're tough. They're tough-minded. They always want a backyard fight. They'll go toe-to-toe for anybody. They can win whether they're home or away. They're a dome team, and they can play outside and win. I love their coordinators. But the only thing is they're hurt.
Okay.
So if this is their year, but I don't know. I mean, you got Darius Smith, you got Jamal Adams, you got a few other guys on the Detroit defense, but their offense, I mean, with Montgomery and what's the other kid's name? The other running back. They call him Knuckles, Sonic and Knuckles. Mm-hmm. But basically, those two are the two running backs there. They're beasting. You got Laporta, the tight end. I mean, it's just Amari St. Brown. You got. I mean, Detroit is just all around a great team. They're all around good physical team, and I think what impresses me is that they'll beat you anywhere. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're outside. It doesn't matter if you're in a dome. It doesn't matter if it's cold. They will beat you anywhere. Mm. So Jahmyr Gibbs. That's what.
Gotcha.
Jahmyr Gibbs. He's that him and David Montgomery, Sonic and Knuckles. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. I just wanted to say that I'm very impressed by Detroit, but I think if it had to be, people are gonna think I'm crazy. I think Philly's the team to beat.
Philly, yeah, I've been hearing Philly.
Philly's the team to beat. I know they keep making a big deal out of
your boy Saquon.
Well, this is the thing. The Eagles are, because what's his name? The receiver. He just came out recently and said they need to pass the ball more. A.J. Brown.
Okay.
Which he is a beast, and yeah. But you got Saquon Barkley running for like 120 plus yards a game.
Yep.
What do you need to pass for? Yeah, okay.
You know, people want their stats and so forth.
AJ Brown, they were saying that it was like AJ Brown wants to be the focal point. You the focal point in Tennessee. You ain't win no Super Bowl. You wasn't even close to Super Bowl. I'm gonna say that again. You were the focal point in Tennessee with Derrick Henry, and they still gave you the ball, and it didn't work well.
Mm-hmm.
You still kept getting beat, and you were sniffing nowhere near a Super Bowl. So I think if I'm him, he needs to just chill out. Do you want to win a Super Bowl? Or do you want to have stats all day?
That's a good question. Say that again.
I could even say think better. You want to go ask Megatron what he would have? Stats or a Super Bowl? Because Megatron is Illmatic as he is, he does not have a Super Bowl. Illmatic, one of the Illmatic receivers I've ever seen in my life, and he don't got no Super Bowl. I guarantee he would give all those stats to get one.
So before we get to that last topic, let's throw it up in the air. We're getting close to playoff season. Who are the 4 teams you want to see go deep in the playoffs?
I think the Steelers will go deep. Shockingly, nobody will see it coming. And 4 teams, 2 from the AFC and 2 from the NFC. Okay, so I think Pittsburgh, and well, we all know Kansas City is going to be a team to do. I think Chargers are hurt. Buffalo. I think Pittsburgh.
Remember you said about their window, so you think the window still got a crack to it for Buffalo.
Yeah. The thing with Buffalo is when they get in the playoffs, they're going to beat whoever they see in the first round because they beat Pittsburgh last year in the first round.
Yeah, don't remind me.
But let's be honest. When Patrick Mahomes is there, even when you had him in your field, you couldn't beat him. You couldn't put him to sleep. You had home field advantage, and you still couldn't knock him out. I think that when it comes down to it, Pittsburgh's going to shock a lot of people, and I think and I know Mahomes is the guy that pulls out in the end, I don't think this is going to be that year. I think somebody's going to catch up to him.
Who, like a Philly or?
In the AFC, I don't think they're going to make it out of the AFC.
Ooh.
I don't think they're going to make it. I think
So you going on record to say you don't think the Kansas City Chiefs is going to make it out of their division?
No, they'll make it. They'll make it into the playoffs.
Yeah,
but I don't think you mean a conference.
I'm sorry.
I don't
their
think.
conference.
I don't think they. I think either Pittsburgh or Buffalo or Baltimore is going to knock them out. They're barely winning games, dog.
All right, Patrick, you're gonna have to do some dark magic back there.
We'll see.
We saw them refs and. Somebody does a spell and you can't snap the ball and then the ball gets fumbled and all that other weird goofy stuff. So hope you're practicing dark magic out there.
Yeah.
So let's get on to one of the last topics. I know there might be a few other.
We'll visit that another time.
Yeah. One of the things we wanted to talk about within football, within the NFL, is the quarterbacks. And you was breaking this down to me off the phone. So you were talking about quarterbacks, you were talking about pay, and you were talking about team construction. Yeah. So I'm gonna hand it over to you.
It's just seeming to me, and if we have time, I'll break it all down. If not, we're going to next one. Mm-hmm. But it just seems like to me the market is dictating that you pay the quarterback this amount of money. If you look at the track record, it's not working out well. Mm-hmm. Dallas paid Dak Prescott all that money. How's that working out? Cincinnati paid Joe Burrow all that money. How's that working out? Now, we know Mahomes got paid that money, but there's only one goal, so we understand why. You cannot gut your team for a quarterback. It does not work.
I.e. the New York Giants with Daniel Jones.
Yeah, like
you had a chance
gave him his money
to pay a transformative running back with Saquon Barkley. And what did you say they said in that offseason interview?
They said that they don't want to pay a running back all this money to when they need a franchise quarterback. So they decided to give Daniel Jones all the money. But like the guy said in the room, that's fine, but how are we going to replace this amount of yards on the field? How are we going to replace who's going to score this amount of touchdowns on the field? How are we going to replace who gets a lot of the first downs on the field? It got real quiet in that room. I can assure you it's even quieter now.
Because this whole thing, the average age of a running back after third, These running backs are stronger and stronger. I don't get to take that Saquon Barkley in the next 2 years is going to be finished with football.
No.
He's 27. He looks like he can play until he's 34 at a high level.
Because this is what the thing is, and let me not get into a big whole spill, but you got the league trying to say we want to be pass happy. We want people in the
for
seats.
ratings.
Right.
Yeah.
We want to be pass happy. Well,
it's just like the NBA with the 3-pointers.
Yeah.
But that's a whole nother topic.
yeah.
Go ahead.
So you want to be pass happy. So let me get this straight. Philly was pass happy, and that didn't work last year, and they ended up collapsing. Right? All teams you notice when they run the ball, they're very successful.
Mm-hmm.
So
Can you give an example?
well, okay, so Philly runs the ball, they're winning, and it's hard to dictate them. Detroit can go anywhere with that running game with Montgomery and Gibbs, and they can punch you in the mouth with the running game. So even if Laporta's not working and Jared Goff's having an off game, they start to run the ball. I don't know if you noticed with Green Bay, Josh Jacobs, who the Raiders let him walk out the door. He's now catapulting Green Bay. He's getting 100+ yards just about every game.
Mm-hmm.
And their game goes everywhere. When you have a running game, it helps your quarterback spread it open and be subject to play action. Because you don't know whether that guy is coming, they're running downfield, or the quarterback is going to have options to throw. You just don't know. And I think that where I'm going with this is that when you construct your team, let's just say this for example, because you talked about Daniel Jones. If I was the Mariners or the general manager, when his agent came in and said, hey, he made it to the playoffs, you guys need to give him money, I would say, no. If you want to we're going to franchise tag him, and if he wants to, he can sit his ass home. We put up with you. Now, don't get it twisted. Daniel Jones did a great job that first year. But for whatever reason, it hasn't clicked ever since he got his money. Joe Burrow got his money, but Cincinnati gutted their defensive players. So now their defense is way down at the bottom. They're losing games because of their defense. Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb make up about a fourth of the salary cap on the Cowboys. 2 guys.
You wonder why they ain't never gonna win.
So
nothing.
how you gonna make this team better? Remember when they keep talking about with Jerry Jones, they're like, yeah, well, Jerry Jones is not doing what he said he was gonna do. He's not making the team better. But that's because he had to give all the money up to CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott.
Go up.
You keep giving these quarterbacks all this money. Now let me tell you what's gonna happen with Brock Purdy, because he's coming. His contract's coming. He's gonna want what the market dictate. Okay, we could, but just know on the back end, Debo Samuel's not going to be around. What's his name? At some point, these contracts are going to run out. And while you're here stuck on a big 5-year deal,
if they get, so let me go here because I know somebody who's a 49ers fan. I know a couple people who are 49ers fans. Salute to y'all. Y'all gonna see this when we post this clip.
Mm-hmm.
You said the 49ers are gonna be faced with a situation with paying Brock Purdy when we seen what's happening with other teams.
Yeah.
If the 49ers pay Brock Purdy, what's going to happen?
Somebody's going to have to go. You can't pay everybody. So defensive-wise, I don't know what Fred Warner's contract is, but I'm pretty sure that's coming. Joey Bosa, a.k.a. a right wing. That's what I'm going to say about him. You're going to do about Fred Warner. What are you going to do about Joey Bosa? What are you going to do about Ayuk just got signed, and so did what's his name? Debo.
Mm-hmm.
They just got signed. What's going to happen to McCaffrey? What's going to happen when Kittle wants his money? What you going to do? So now you done gutted some of your 4 or 5 best players to get a franchise quarterback, but he's not a franchise quarterback.
I was just about to ask you, is he worth the money?
No. Because they were doing the same thing with Jimmy Garoppolo. He just got injured. And now looking back at it, Garoppolo, I don't think he was the problem with his injuries, because since San Fran's having a lot of injury issues. But not to sidetrack, there's 2 things that I don't like. And we'll talk about the Jets maybe next episode. It's 2 things that they're doing. The quarterbacks are demanding the market, and then quarterbacks that they're bringing in are saying what they want. The Jets gave Aaron Rodgers everything he wanted, and it has not worked. Do you know that the Jets have won more games with Sam Darnold than they have with Aaron Rodgers? That is not good. Then with Aaron Rodgers, not to mention The general managers got fired. The coaches got fired. The head coach and the general manager. You brought in Devontae Adams. Who's the other guy they brought in? They brought in Nathaniel Hackett. What more do you want? This team, and let me tell you where the Jets messed up at, and I'm not going to get into that whole spill. Like I said, we'll do next episode. But the Jets had Aaron Rodgers, all that type of stuff, right? They gave you what you wanted. It has not worked out. But see, this is what happened. You had this kid in Zach Wilson, which he needed a little growing up to do. But the Jets was a team that was ready to win now. And they're in New York, and they couldn't hide it no more. So they said, yo, Zach Wilson, you can go. Then Aaron Rodgers comes in and says, well, hey, I need Devontae Adams. Really? They got you Devontae Adams. It has not worked out. And to tell you what Robert Saleh, how good of a coordinator he is, you can see the defense is horrific. They're losing games in the last seconds. So at some point, you gave him everything you wanted. The owner came in and panicked this year from 2-3 record and said, yo, we're going to do everything that Aaron Rodgers wants, and it still got worse. I don't know what more to say. So these quarterbacks are demanding things and saying, hey, if you want me in your building, you can't just give me the big deal, but you have to bring this guy here. And at this point, I'm starting to look like, why? Why? I get when it's Devontae Adams. I really do. I do want to get when it's Devontae Adams. But you got Garrett Wilson there, too. You got a running game that you hardly ever use. So I don't know. I don't know what more to do, man. I don't know what more to say. And let me go here with the quarterbacks in the market. So we just saw where Soto got this big deal in Major League Baseball.
Let's talk. Yeah, that'd be last.
Where I'm going with this. And what ended up happening was he got like I can't think of the numbers right now, but it's
Juan Soto.
Yeah.
Let me bring it up.
But it's like a record deal. I think it was 10 years or 15?
15 years. 15 years, $765 million for Juan Soto.
Okay. So I think it's the equivalent of 50-something million a year. It's something like that, if I did the math right top of my head. So we talk about the market, and people are wondering why baseball and NBA basketball is getting, these players get all this money. Because, one, they have a strong union. They have a strong union, and they all stuck together. Unlike these idiots, not these idiots, these naive young players that's in the NFL that signed that deal that they were not supposed to sign, and now they're stuck in that labor agreement for the next 10 years. So
also, theirs is 10 years because the NBA is like 4 years.
I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, I heard the other day it was 10.
That's a whole generation of players.
You're stuck in the years, and all you got to do is just sit out. Do what baseball did. I know you kind of too young to remember. I remember, so let me tell you this story. Can I say this real quick?
Yep.
So I remember with baseball one time, and I never forgot this, because Ken Griffey was hitting homers like every other night. He was going to break that record before Bonds was, and the players went on strike. They say, oh, you're not going to pay us? They say, I guess we ain't going to get no World Series neither. Sat it out. You see the deals they getting now? The NBA, they tried the same thing with them. NBA said, oh, the players said, oh, that's how you feel?
Mm-hmm.
Watch what we do. And they got so bad, the NBA players were so stern on it that they ended up doing like half a season.
Yeah, that was in 99, correct?
Yes, the owners were missing the money. So my point to say this is the NFL, the players had the opportunity to put their foot down and say, oh, if you don't want to pay us what we owe, then screw it. We're going on strike. But the minute they go on strike, you notice those players that buying big, I got a family to feed. They're buying big houses. They're buying nice cars. They got 3 or 4 baby mamas.
$50,000 in the club.
3 or 4 baby mamas. They're doing all types of stupid, naive stuff. And at the end of the day, they're like, yo, I need to get paid. But you're kind of shorting yourself. So you're willing to take the L to just get short-term change.
I forgot what interview it was, but one of the players that was being interviewed said there'll be players that before the season is over, they're hurting to get to the next season.
Yeah.
Because they already spent all the money up in the contract.
Yep.
Like they're taking out loans to hold them over until their next season starts.
Facts. Super facts.
But I don't want to take a little pain of sitting out maybe a half a season or a season.
Do you know how crazy it would get if the players... Because let me tell you something. They did that. They restructured that union deal. They structured that a year earlier than when it was up. So when they renewed the deal, they ran right to the networks and said, hey, look at the deal we got. These players ain't going nowhere. Then they get the money from the networks to get the TV deals, and they ain't got to share any of that with the players because of the union agreement they had. And I think, let me apologize, because DeMaurice Smith said it. Because remember, I was hard on him, like, what are you doing? Mm-hmm. But he said he's talked to the players. He's told them, yo, let's stop. Let's go on strike because we need, and you need to buckle down. He said they don't stick together. He can't get them to stay on the same page. He's made it abundantly clear.
One day y'all figure it out. Maybe this next generation of young cats that's currently in high school and college is going to figure it out. Because the life of an NFL player is what, 3 seasons?
Yeah.
The average life?
Yeah.
A lot of y'all not even seeing the second contract. I think them younger cats is going to figure it out.
I think they will because NIL is a big part of the early systems.
So they'll have money going into.
Yes, and they'll be like, "I wish you would try."
I already got $5 million in the bank from college.
And we just gonna sit here and just not play, and you gonna figure it out how you gonna get us money.
Definitely. You got any other topics you want to bring? Because we're right at that.
Yeah, not right now.
All right. As I said in the beginning of this, Uncle Murder, I hope you were taking notes, man. You don't got a song. You got a whole album to put together for the wrap up, man. And as I always say, if it's one person following, 10 people, 100 people, Enveonline podcast, appreciate the support. Got anything you want to shout out?
Just, yeah, man, I just want to say sleep in peace to, Sherrod Timmons.
Okay.
Friend of mine. We grew up in high school, went to high school together, and, he recently passed. And then I'm not going to get into the whole story of what happened. Let's just say this, man. Especially once again, especially for men, please, man, take care of your health. I can't say it no more than what I'm seeing. I'm starting to go to funerals, and a lot of it is health wise.
And you still in your 40s.
Facts. So I right now my goal is to be a grandfather. I wanna one day be a grandfather. And I want to live to enjoy that. So, man, just please take care of your health. That's the best way I can put it.
I second that, man. I'm on a whole health kick myself. I looked myself in the mirror about 3 weeks ago. I ain't like what I saw. I'm be honest. Dad bod was real.
Yeah.
Rolls in the back. I'm being transparent. It looked crazy. I was like, nah, this look crazy right now.
And the piggyback off what you're saying, you don't have to go into a Rocky Balboa workout.
I'm currently there.
What's another thing? Bully Juice workout, Ashton Official workout. You know what you got to do? It's just simplistic things. If you're older, instead of eating fried chicken and French fries, maybe have fried chicken and banana. Maybe have fried chicken and a few oranges. Maybe have, just work your way
to being
healthy steps. Instead of maybe try to run a mile that you can't run.
Walk 40 minutes.
40 minutes. It's small things that'll keep you going and keep you healthy. Just think about in the back end. Don't you want to be able to play with your grandkids? Don't you want to be able to take them to games and hang out and beat them rather than to sit there and have them watching you in the bed? So I think, for some people that didn't, some kids, and you notice, we took a lot of losses last year. That's why we haven't really been around. A lot of losses. So, saying bye to a lot of people. And, they didn't reach that goal. So I think to say, just please, man, take care of your health. It's the most important thing you can do. Trust me, those bills, everything you're stressing about, just leave it right where it is. It will always take care of itself. As long as you got your health, everything else will work out. That's the best thing I could say.
I second that. And as always, we appreciate the support. Signing off for Enveonline podcast, it's your host, Son of a Jones.
And his focus partner, Azar Johnson.
Y'all stay blessed.
One.